Hi, Stores Channel here.
Today, I am going to explain an American science fiction comedy film called What Planet Are You From? Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie begins on a planet far away from Earth that holds only male population. They are 1,000 times more advanced in technology and are highly evolved. The people of the planet reproduce by cloning. Because of this, their reproductive organs have shrunk and disappeared. No wonder they're so productive. The lack of females has caused men to evolve into emotionless creatures. With each succeeding generation, the inhabitants of the planet are growing more ambitious to rule the entire universe. Currently, they are planning to take over the Earth. The ruler of the planet, Graydon, plans to breed a human-alien hybrid to use them for his own good. For this, they train their finest men to go to the Earth, woo a lady, and impregnate her. In the training, they are taught how to flirt and have sexual intercourse. The leader stresses them to compliment a woman's scent and her shoes, which is sure to land them a date. After days of training, they choose the best flirt of their kind, H14496, for the mission to Earth. He is going to be known as Harold Anderson. The leader asks Harold to be careful, because no matter the training, a name like Harold is going to make this difficult. Also, the people on Earth are unpredictable. Before he sets off for Earth, they attach him with an artificial appendage that will help him have sexual intercourse. On Earth, an airplane is in the air, flying to Phoenix, Arizona. All of a sudden, the pilots notice something flying towards them at great speed. Moments later, the mysterious force crashes into the plane and makes it move aggressively. The said forces were Harold and Graydon, who have now entered the plane through its toilet. They make fun of Earth's backward technology and revise everything about the mission one last time. Graydon wishes Harold luck and flushes himself off the plane. Following that, Harold gets out and immediately starts to flirt with the air hostess. Most of the passengers are shaken by the turbulence they just faced, so the woman thinks it is weird that the man is hitting on her. Wow, Harold is more like human men than he knows. She angrily asks him to take a seat. Harold sits beside a crying woman who is clearly traumatized by the incident. He compliments her shoes and her smell, but he gets no positive response. He realizes that the mission is not going to be easy, but he is determined to get someone impregnated. After the plane has landed, an employee of the FAA, Roland Jones, is called to inspect the cause of the heavy turbulence. He has been working in the FAA for years and believes that all undefined activities that happen on the plane are either caused by a flock of birds or by a drunk crew. He is then handed a video that a passenger took when they hit turbulence. Somewhere else, Harold gets off the plane and starts to hit on every woman he sees. When a woman bends over, his crotch starts to make a whirring noise. He figures that the artificial organ has a defect, that whenever he is turned on, it starts to make noise. The woman runs away after hearing the vibration coming from his pants. Following that, Harold goes to the bank he is supposed to work at. He has already been hired because of Graydon's influence. A coworker, Perry Gordon, befriends him and teaches him the ins and outs of the bank. He also introduces Harold to the office manager and his girlfriend, Rita. Then, Harold meets his boss, who claims he is also seeing Rita. Somewhere else, Roland watches the video from the airplane, and for the first time in his life, he cannot explain what caused the turbulence. The challenge excites him, and he makes it his mission to solve the mystery. After work, Perry brings Harold to a strip club to get him a girl. They meet a sex worker, Cheryl, who agrees to spend the night with him. Harold is beyond excited, but Cheryl is weirded out by the loud whirring sound coming from his crotch. Moreover, she asks him to wear a contraceptive, which defeats his entire purpose. The next morning, he briefs Perry about the disastrous night. Perry promises to take him to an AA meeting, which he claims is an even better place to pick up girls. That night, they visit one and listen to stories about women's struggle with alcoholism and sobriety. One woman named Susan Hurt catches Harold's attention. After her speech, he approaches her, but is stopped by the air hostess he met on the flight. She asks him to spend the night with her. Outside, Perry accidentally bumps his car into Susan's car, and the two get into an argument. Somewhere else, Harold and the air hostess are in bed together. Everything goes well, until she gets a call from a married pilot, who she loves. Harold comments that she is helping him cheat, which makes her kick him out. Roland's wife thinks that he is cheating on her, because he has never been this excited to go to work. He tries to explain that he is excited about the incident that took place at work, but she doesn't believe him. At work, Perry's wife Helen comes to meet him. Harold is instantly attracted to her, but is disappointed when he finds out she is married. Moments later, he notices Susan talking to the receptionist. She has come to meet Perry to talk about the damages he caused the previous day. Harold introduces himself and asks her out immediately. Susan finds out that he was just at the AA meeting to look for girls and refuses to go out with him. However, a persistent Harold convinces her to go on a date. They go to a restaurant for dinner at night. Harold doesn't tell her much about himself and listens carefully when she speaks. Not knowing that he has been trained to do this, Susan is impressed. He also claims that his purpose in life is to have a child, which makes her believe he is not like a typical man. After dinner, they go back to her apartment. Harold hopes to get lucky tonight, but his plans are in vain when Susan reveals that she is saving herself for marriage. He panics and runs to the washroom to call Graydon. The leader advises him to do whatever is necessary to impregnate her, even if it means marriage. Somewhere else, Roland interviews the cabin crew to try to solve the mystery. The air hostess tells him that all the passengers were panicking, except for Harold, who seemed rather calm. When he checks the passengers list, he discovers no one of that name was aboard the flight. The air hostess reveals that she went on a date with Harold, and also tells him about the strange humming noise that his crotch made when they were together. The man now has all the reasons to believe that the unexplained turbulence was because of Harold and his vibrating crotch. Susan comes to visit Harold while he is at work. She hopes to go out for lunch to make up for the disastrous date. Harold brings up the topic of marriage and asks her if she has thought about marrying him since last night. Susan thinks he is joking, so to make her believe him, he gets on his knees and proposes to her. Even though she is taken aback, she doesn't decline his offer right away. Instead, she asks for some time to think about it. Later that day, she meets her friends to ask for their advice. All of them warn her against marriage, but Susan has already made up her mind. She claims that she is running out of time and cannot miss the golden opportunity. She calls Harold and agrees to marry him. A few days later, Harold does a week's worth of his paperwork and hands it to Perry. Following that, he takes a leave for the wedding. On his wedding day, Susan recites a paragraph-long vow, but he only says that he is very happy to marry her. They are announced husband and wife and sent on a honeymoon. Harold has sexual intercourse for the first time and is overjoyed. Back in the bank, Perry submits Harold's paperwork as his own. He also talks badly about him to his boss in order to get a promotion. When Harold gets back to work, Roland visits him. He inquires about the flight ticket of the plane he boarded to get to Arizona, but Harold claims he has thrown it away. To find out if the air hostess was telling the truth, Roland deliberately drops a Playboy magazine on the desk. Harold's crotch makes a humming noise, but he manages to hide it with a pencil sharpener. When he returns home that day, he hardly acknowledges his wife and her friends in the living room and walks to the bedroom. Susan is upset about his rude behavior, but is sympathetic when he says he had a bad day at work. He is also worried because Susan hasn't gotten pregnant yet. She assumes that because of her history of alcoholism, she cannot have a child. It doesn't mean much to her because she can still adopt a kid, but Harold hopes that that is not true. He then boards another flight to talk to Graydon. The man says that no matter what, he has to impregnate someone. If Susan cannot get pregnant, he will most definitely have to cheat on her. Somewhere else, Roland gets a call, reporting him of a similar jolt that a plane faced. When he finds Harold on the passenger list, he starts to believe that the man is not human. That evening, he follows Harold to the bar to keep an eye on him. Harold meets Perry's wife, Helen, who seduces him. The two return to her house, but Harold's appendage starts to malfunction midway. He runs to the bathroom and tries to restart it. Roland is outside the window, watching him. He takes a picture and runs away. Following that, Harold feels guilty for cheating on his wife and returns home. He is met with a pleasant surprise when Susan tells him she is pregnant. The couple is overjoyed at the news. Meanwhile, Roland's wife finds Harold's naked pictures in his drawer and assumes that her husband is gay. No matter how much he tries to explain that he is tracking down an alien, she doesn't buy his story. That is a very strange euphemism, Roland. In the meantime, Harold and Susan go to the doctors and find out that their baby is growing at an exponential rate. Although Susan has been pregnant for only 4 weeks, the fetus is 4 months old. When Harold comes to work the next day, he finds out that Perry has gotten the promotion because of the paperwork. Perry mocks him and accuses him of sleeping with Helen, which causes a huge argument between them. The fight ends when Harold punches him in the face. At home, he tells Susan about the incident and cries for the first time. Meanwhile, Roland tells his superiors about his theory. They don't believe him fully, but permit him to investigate the situation further. After only 3 months of pregnancy, Susan goes into labor. Harold drives her to the hospital, and she gives birth to a healthy baby boy. The smile on Harold's face turns into a frown when he sees Graydon outside the room. A while later, he tells Susan that he will have to leave now. Susan doesn't ask him a lot of questions out of surprise. She blames herself for believing him and cries as he leaves. He boards another flight to return to his planet. Roland also follows him to see what he exactly does to make the entire airplane move. Harold walks into the washroom, but before Roland can get to him, the plane experiences turbulence. To Roland's surprise, Harold disappears from the airplane. He reports the incident to his superiors, who don't believe him and fire him from his job. Back on Harold's planet, he tells his fellows that they should aim for universal peace instead of universal domination. Because of this, he is arrested. He also finds out that his baby has been kidnapped and brought to the planet. An agitated Harold takes his baby and runs away to Earth. He appears before Susan, who quickly grabs the infant. She is furious at him for everything he has done. Harold proves to her that he is an alien by flashing a bright light out of his nose. He says that he was forced to leave her, but she doesn't forgive him. When he goes outside, Roland catches him. However, the man has already been fired, so he doesn't care about Harold's secret. As they talk, Graydon appears and points a gun at them, but Roland shoots him dead. Moments later, Susan runs outside and says that she loves him. The two reconcile and share a passionate kiss. In the following scene, the couple is renewing their vows in a tower. After the ceremony, Harold tells her that he has been selected as the new leader of their planet. He plans to commute to stay closer to his family. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.